Life has a funny way of smacking you in the face when you least expect it. And not a gentle tap like, hey buddy, wake up. No, no, no. I'm talking about a full force, open palmed slap from the universe. Like it's trying to knock the stupid out of you. And let me tell you, I've had my fair share of wake up slaps. There was a time, and it was a dark time when I was ready to throw in the towel. Not just throw it, but hurl it across the room, set it on fire, and dance around the ashes, screaming, I'm done. But I didn't. And here's why. Reality can be a bully. Not just the kind that steals your lunch money, but the kind that sneaks into your head and whispers, you're not good enough. It likes to flex its muscles, roll up its sleeves, and tell you how things are going to go, like some mean-spirited gym teacher barking orders at you. Reality will say things like, you're not smart enough, you're not talented enough, you're not lucky enough, or the classic, you'll never make it. And the worst part, it repeats the same garbage over and over until you start believing it. But here's the trick. You can talk back, and you should. Bullies only win when you believe them. So the next time reality throws some nonsense at you, don't just sit there nodding like it's the truth. Stand up and say, oh yeah, watch me. If reality tells you you're not good enough, remind yourself that you're getting better every day. If it says you'll never make it, challenge it by asking why you're still trying then. If it tries to convince you that nobody cares about what you do, just add one simple word, yet. That word is powerful. It means the game isn't over. And if the game isn't over, you can still win. Think about the most confident person you know. The one who walks into a room like they own the place, even when they clearly do not. That kind of confidence, you can borrow it. Fake it if you have to. Even if your voice shakes and your hands tremble, speak your dreams louder than your doubts. Eventually, doubt gets tired of arguing and moves on. And if all else fails, just be weirder than reality. Fear and doubt follow predictable patterns. They expect you to curl up, give up, or stay small. So throw them off. If fear tells you you're going to fail, respond with something ridiculous. Put on sunglasses at night and say, oh, absolutely. And it's going to be the most spectacular, slow-motion, explosion-filled failure the world has ever seen. At that point, doubt won't even know what to do with you. But the most important thing is to take action. Reality may talk a big game, but the moment you start actually doing something, writing, creating, building, moving forward, it loses power. You don't have to be the best, you just have to keep going. So next time reality gets in your face, remember that you can be a bully too. The good kind. The kind that bullies your fears into submission, shoves negativity into a locker, and walks away whistling. Because at the end of the day, reality only wins if you let it. And I don't know about you, but I prefer a good underdog story. And guess what? That's you. There was a time when I thought the world didn't need me. Not in a sad, melodramatic way, but in that creeping, quiet doubt that sneaks into your mind when things aren't working out. I looked around and thought, there are already so many talented people out there. What do I have to offer that hasn't already been done a million times before? It felt like trying to sell a snow cone in Antarctica, completely unnecessary. But here's the truth. I had to learn the hard way. The world had never seen me before. Not like this. Not with my exact voice, my perspective, my weird sense of humor, or the way I saw things. And the same goes for you. It doesn't matter if a million people are already doing what you want to do. None of them are doing it your way. At some point, I realized that the people I looked up to, the ones who inspired me, probably had the same doubts. Maybe they sat in the dark, just like I did, wondering if anyone would care about what they had to offer. But they kept going. And because they did, they changed my life. They didn't just succeed for themselves. They succeeded for people like me, who needed their work, their words, their presence. And that's when it hit me. What if someone out there was waiting for me the same way I had waited for them? What if there was one person, just one, who needed to hear what I had to say, see what I had to create, or be inspired by what I could do? What if my failure to try meant they never got that moment of inspiration the way I had gotten mine? The world doesn't just need more talent. It needs more people who care enough to show up. You don't have to be the best, the smartest, or the most innovative. You just have to be you in the most unapologetic, fearless way possible. So if you've ever thought, the world doesn't need me, I'm here to tell you you're wrong. The world didn't just need what I had to offer, it was waiting for it. And it's waiting for you too. You just have to give it a chance to find you. For most of my life, I was terrified of failure. Not just regular failure, but the kind of failure that makes people shake their heads and say, oof, that guy really blew it. The kind that keeps you up at night, replaying every little mistake like a bad movie you can't turn off. So for a long time, I played it safe. I kept my dreams on a leash, never let them run too far, and definitely never let them get too wild. And guess what? That was worse than failing. Playing it safe was like putting my life on mute. No risks, no big losses, but also no big wins. Just this dull, gray, meh existence where I wasn't really living, just existing. Then one day I had an epiphany. Failure isn't the enemy. Hesitation is. If I was going to fail, I might as well do it in a way that people would remember. Not in a tragic, let's never speak of this again way, but in a way that made people say, wow, at least he went for it. That's when I decided that if I was going to fail, I was going to fail loudly. No quiet, polite, tiptoeing failure. No slow fade into the background. If I was going down, I was going down swinging, covered in glitter, screaming, I regret nothing on the way. Because the truth is, when you fail with that kind of energy, people don't even see it as failure. They see it as bravery. They see it as someone who went for something huge. And the funny thing? The louder and bolder you fail, the more likely you are to stumble right into success. Think about it. The greatest success stories out there, they're built on epic failures. People who were laughed at, rejected, told no 1,000 times, but they didn't shrink. They didn't bow their heads and walk away quietly. They made noise. They made mistakes with style. They fell flat on their faces, then got up, dusted themselves off, and said, okay, that didn't work. Let's try something even crazier. Failure is only embarrassing if you let it be. But if you embrace it, if you own it, if you go all in, people don't see failure anymore. They see fearlessness. And that is magnetic. That is unforgettable. That is what turns people who almost made it into legends. So if you're going to fail, do it with flair. Fail so loudly that the universe has no choice but to notice you. Fail so boldly that people can't stop watching. Fail so fearlessly that when you finally succeed, and you will, it'll be one hell of a story. For the longest time, I thought money was the answer. I mean, doesn't everyone? We're taught from an early age that success equals money and money equals happiness. If you just get rich enough, all your problems magically disappear. Right. You'll wake up every day in silk pajamas sipping something expensive while riding a golden dolphin into the sunset. But let me tell you something. I've been broke and I've had money. And while money can buy comfort, it can't buy fulfillment. It can't buy that fire in your soul that makes you want to jump out of bed in the morning. It can't buy that feeling you get when you're doing something you love so much that hours fly by like minutes. There was a time when I chased money like it was the key to everything. I told myself, once I make enough, I'll finally be happy. I'll finally feel secure. But the more I focused on money, the emptier I felt. I was working, grinding, doing what I thought I should be doing, but I wasn't alive. I wasn't doing what set my soul on fire. And when you live like that, no amount of zeros in your bank account will ever feel like enough. Then I made a wild decision. I stopped chasing money and I started chasing passion. Not in some reckless quit everything and live in a treehouse kind of way, but in a way that prioritized what made me feel alive. I started asking, what excites me? What makes me laugh, makes me think, makes me want to keep going even when I'm exhausted? I let that lead me. And guess what? The more I followed that passion, the more money eventually followed. But this time it felt different. It wasn't empty. It wasn't just numbers on a screen. It was fuel for something I loved doing. People get this idea that passion is some cute little hobby on the side, while money is the real goal. But that's backward. Passion is the engine. Passion is what keeps you moving forward when things get tough, when you want to quit, when reality slaps you in the face. If you only chase money, the moment it gets hard, you'll give up because there's no heart in it. But if you chase passion, even when things go wrong, you'll keep going because it matters to you. Money might buy you a nice couch, but it won't give you a reason to get up in the morning. Passion will. And if you lean into it, if you nurture it, if you trust it enough to follow it even when it doesn't seem logical, one day you'll wake up and realize you didn't just make a living, you made a life. For the longest time, I thought that if I just did good work, people would notice, that if I had talent, someone would magically discover me. That if I put my heart and soul into something, the world would automatically care. Spoiler alert, they didn't. The truth is, no one is sitting around hoping you succeed. Not because people are mean or selfish, but because everyone is busy starring in their own movie. They're worried about their own problems, their own dreams, their own daily chaos. They're not out there thinking, wow, I wonder if that person is finally going after their dream today. No one cares until you make them care. At first, that might sound depressing, but actually it's empowering. It means that success isn't just about talent or luck. It's about how much noise you're willing to make. It's about showing up over and over again until people have no choice but to notice. Think about your favorite artists, actors, musicians, or entrepreneurs. You probably assume they were always famous, always respected, always recognized. But rewind the tape and you'll see years, sometimes decades of them working in the shadows, screaming into the void, trying to get anyone to pay attention. They weren't just magically handed success, they forced the world to care. So how do you do that? First, you have to believe in what you're doing more than anyone else does. You can't wait for approval before you start. You have to act like what you're doing is the most important thing in the world, even when nobody is listening. People don't pay attention to doubt, they pay attention to certainty. When you walk into a room like you belong there, people assume you do. When you talk about your dreams like they're inevitable, people start believing you. Second, you have to show up consistently, even when it feels like no one is watching. Because at first they aren't. And that's fine. Keep going anyway. Keep writing, keep performing, keep building, keep creating. Keep putting yourself out there until one person notices, then 2, then 10, then 100. And finally, you have to give people a reason to care. Make them feel something. Make them laugh. Make them think. Make them inspired. Make them curious. Whatever it is, just don't be forgettable. The world is full of noise, and if you blend in, you'll disappear. But if you have something to say, something real, something, you say it boldly. Say it in a way only you can. No one cares at first, but that's not a reason to quit. That's a challenge. That's your cue to step up, get louder, and make them care. And when you do, that's when the real fun begins. Fear is a terrible fortune teller. It acts like it knows the future, like it has some crystal ball showing you all the ways things are going to go wrong. It whispers, you're going to fail. They're going to laugh at you. You'll never make it, as if it has hard evidence. But here's the truth. Fear has no idea what it's talking about. Think about it. How many times has fear stopped you from doing something, only for you to look back later and realize it wasn't as scary as you thought? How many times did you overthink something, imagining disaster, only for things to turn out completely fine, or even better than expected? Fear always predicts the worst, but it has a horrible track record. It's like a weatherman who predicts thunderstorms every day, but half the time it's sunny outside. The problem is, we believe it. We treat fear like it's delivering facts, when really it's just feeding us the worst-case scenario, because that's its job. Fear isn't here to give you an accurate prediction of the future. It's here to keep you safe. Safe from embarrassment, safe from failure, safe from anything uncomfortable. But safety and success don't live in the same neighborhood. If you want to do something great, something that actually matters, you have to be willing to step beyond fear's so-called warnings and see for yourself what's on the other side. The truth is, fear isn't a sign that you're about to fail. It's a sign that you're pushing boundaries. It only shows up when you're about to do something important, something that actually matters to you. Nods. So instead of seeing fear as an enemy, start seeing it as a signal. If you're scared, it probably means you're on the right track. The next time fear tries to tell you the future, challenge it. Ask, what if you're wrong? Because chances are it is. Fear will always paint the worst picture possible, but you don't have to hang it on your wall. You don't have to live by a script that hasn't even been written yet. So go for it. Apply for that job, launch that project, tell that joke, take that risk. Fear will scream, this is going to be a disaster, but just smile and say, yeah, well, let's find out. And more often than not, you'll discover that fear had no clue what it was talking about. The universe has a twisted sense of humor. It's like a mischievous old man sitting in a rocking chair watching you struggle, chuckling to itself as you try to make sense of things. It doesn't just hand you what you want in a neat little gift box. No, that would be too easy. Instead, it likes to mess with you. It likes to throw obstacles in your way, send you down the wrong path, make you question everything just to see if you're paying attention. Ever notice how the moment you decide to go after something big, everything that can go wrong suddenly does? You finally commit to chasing your dream and boom, your car breaks down, your laptop crashes, your dog eats your motivation, and out of nowhere you develop an allergy to success. It's almost like the universe is testing you, saying, oh, you really want this? Prove it. And the irony? The universe does not work on your schedule. It loves to deliver what you want, but only after you've been through a ridiculous amount of waiting, struggling, and thinking, did I take a wrong turn somewhere? It won't give you a roadmap. It'll hand you a puzzle with missing pieces and expect you to figure it out. And just when you're about to give up, just when you throw your hands in the air and yell, I give up, universe, you win. That's when things start falling into place. Because the universe is dramatic. It loves a good plot twist. But here's the secret. The universe isn't laughing at you. It's laughing with you. It wants you to loosen up, to stop taking every setback so seriously. It wants you to realize that failure isn't a stop sign, it's just part of the game. The more you roll with the punches, the more the universe starts working in your favor. It's like it's waiting for you to stop resisting, to start playing along, and once you do, that's when the magic happens. So when life throws you ridiculous challenges, don't just get frustrated. Laugh back, play along. Treat every setback like a plot twist in the weird, unpredictable movie that is your life. Because the universe may have a twisted sense of humor, but it also has a habit of rewarding the people who refuse to give up. You don't have to be ready. Just start. Most people spend their whole lives waiting for the perfect moment. They tell themselves, I'll start when I have more experience. I'll start when I have more money. I'll start when I feel more confident. But let me tell you something, that moment never comes. It's an illusion, a sneaky little trick your brain plays on you to keep you from taking action. Think about it. When was the last time you felt truly ready for something big? Ready to take a risk, ready to try something new, ready to put yourself out there? Probably never. Because every time we step into something unfamiliar, we feel unprepared. And that's normal. That's just fear in a fancy suit, pretending to be logic. The truth is, no one who ever did something great started out feeling ready. They started before they were ready. They started messy, unsure, unqualified, terrified. But they started anyway. And that's the difference between people who succeed and people who spend their whole lives waiting. One group moves forward despite the fear, and the other sits on the sidelines, hoping for a confidence fairy to sprinkle magic dust on them. Spoiler alert, that fairy doesn't exist. If you wait until you feel ready, you'll be waiting forever. Confidence doesn't come before you start. It comes because you start. Action creates confidence, not the other way around. You figure things out as you go. You make mistakes, you stumble, you learn, you adjust. But the only way to get better is to begin. Look around at the people who inspire you. Do you think they knew what they were doing when they started? Nope. They just took the first step, then the next, and the next. The world is full of people with incredible ideas who never acted on them because they were waiting to feel ready. But it's also full of people who had no clue what they were doing, but they jumped in anyway, and those are the ones who actually made something happen. So whatever it is you've been putting off, starting that project, taking that trip, chasing that dream, stop waiting, stop making excuses. Stop telling yourself you need more time, more knowledge, more certainty. You don't need to be ready, you just need to start. And once you do, you'll realize that everything you needed was inside you all along. The best revenge is success and a little dancing. Let's be honest, nothing fuels us quite like the desire to prove someone wrong. That teacher who doubted you, that boss who underestimated you, that so-called friend who smirked when you shared your dream. Oh, they fueled something deep inside you, didn't they? That little voice that says, "Oh, just you wait." And guess what? That's not a bad thing. A lot of people will tell you that revenge is a waste of energy, that you should just let it go. And sure, don't dwell in negativity. Don't let bitterness weigh you down. But using that energy, channeling it into something powerful, that's gold. That's the stuff of legends. Some of the greatest success stories in history were born out of someone being told, "You can't." And instead of arguing, instead of wasting breath on people who didn't believe in them, they simply went out and did it anyway. The trick is to focus on the success, not the resentment. If you make your whole journey about proving people wrong, you'll burn out. But if you take that fire and use it to fuel your passion, your work, your craft, that's when things start happening. Instead of wasting time arguing, complaining, or trying to convince people, let your success do the talking. Nothing is louder than results. And when you finally get there, when you achieve what they said you couldn't, when you stand on that metaphorical or literal stage and look back at how far you've come, don't just stand there, dance. Because what's the point of winning if you don't enjoy it? What's the point of proving them wrong if you don't celebrate? That's where the dancing comes in. It's not just about success, it's about joy. It's about proving to yourself that you did it. Not just for them, but for you. It's about embracing the fact that the best way to get back at doubters isn't to be bitter, it's to be so wildly, unapologetically happy that they can't help but notice. So work hard, build something great, chase your dreams with everything you've got. And when you finally reach the top of your mountain, don't forget to turn up the music, throw your hands in the air, and dance like the whole universe is watching. Because at that point they will be. Life is a movie, make yours worth watching. Think about it. If your life were playing on the big screen right now, would you be on the edge of your seat? Would you be laughing, crying, cheering? Or would you be slumped in your chair, waiting for something, anything interesting to happen? Too many people live like background characters in their own stories. They follow the script society handed them, never questioning whether it's the right one. They stick to what's safe, avoid taking risks, and convince themselves that someday they'll do something exciting. But here's the twist. Someday is a lie. There is no perfect moment to start living fully. The only moment you have is right now. Every great movie has challenges, unexpected turns, and moments where everything seems to fall apart. That's what makes it exciting. If a character never faces obstacles, never takes risks, never steps out of their comfort zone, the audience tunes out. So why do we expect real life to be any different? The most memorable stories aren't the ones where everything goes smoothly. They're the ones where the hero struggles, stumbles, falls, but keeps going anyway. And let's be real, who wants to watch a movie where the main character just wakes up, goes to work, scrolls through their phone for hours, and then goes to bed? Nobody. That's not a blockbuster. That's a nap inducer. Life is meant to be messy, thrilling, unpredictable, full of moments that make you feel alive. So stop waiting for the right time to chase your dream. Take that risk or make that change. The best movies don't wait for the perfect scene. They dive into the action, take unexpected detours, and create moments that people remember. Be the main character in your own story. Take that leap, embrace the chaos, laugh at the setbacks, and say yes to the opportunities that scare you. Because one day when the credits roll, you'll want to look back and think, damn, that was a good movie. So here's the deal. Life isn't waiting for you to feel ready. The universe isn't handing out guarantees. Fear isn't going to magically disappear. And the people who doubted you, they'll keep doubting you until you give them a reason not to. But none of that matters. What matters is what you do next. Are you going to let fear, doubt, and excuses write your story? Or are you going to take the pen and start writing something worth reading? The world doesn't need another person sitting on the sidelines, waiting for permission. It needs you, bold, messy, passionate, unstoppable you, to step up, take risks, and chase the life you were meant for. So go out there, make some noise, shake things up, and live a story that when told makes people say, wow,